Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for April 17th to April 23rd of 2016. And on April 17th, we have the sun in Aries. It's also in the third hexagram, and on the outside of the wheel, you can see the chop mark for the third hexagram, numbered from bottom to top. The third goes yang, yin, 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 yang, yin. And then the third hexagram is mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate. And right here, this is the third gate of ordering, difficulty at the beginning. The fundamental challenge of initiation is to transcend confusion and establish order. Located in the sacral center, in an individual energy path in the knowing circuit called the channel of mutation, a design of energy which initiates and fluctuates, connected to its harmonic, the 60th gate of acceptance. Limitation and the acceptance of limitation is the first step in transcendence. I have found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person, that I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. And we have the following activated gates on April 17th. The sun is in the third gate with the earth in the 50th gate. The north node is in the 47th gate with the south node in the 22nd gate. Mercury is in the second gate. Venus is in the 21st gate. Mars is at a standstill or stationed as it turns retrograde later on the 17th, and it's in the 9th gate. We have Jupiter retrograde in the 64th gate, Saturn retrograde in the 5th gate. Uranus is in the 42nd gate, with Neptune in the 37th gate, and Pluto likewise is also stationed or at a standstill as it turns retrograde on the 18th, and it's in the 54th gate. So obviously not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your own human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And we begin the week with one channel definition due to the transit field, with Jupiter in the 64th gate and the North Node in the 47th gate. We have the channel of abstraction, a design of mental activity mixed with clarity until June 7th. The energy of this channel is about creating something new out of something old. This is about abstract thought being brought into the collective consciousness through the arts, philosophy, history, and culture. It's wonderful energy for telling stories about our experiences that inspire others, but brings confusion when used to resolve our own issues. The defined head center brings pressure to think about things that don't matter. And the defined Asha center can influence folks to believe that they're certain of something even when they are not. April 17th, the sun starts in the second line of the third hexagram. The sun in the 3-2 is described as immaturity, the unrestrained acceptance of guidance, exalted, the unrelenting energy for growth that will eventually triumph, the energy and potential for individual mutation, detrimented internal instability, which both accepts and rejects authority simultaneously, energy and the potential that is conditioned by others, leading to instability. Later on the 17th, the sun then moves into the third line of the third hexagram, and at 4:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, the sun in the 3-3 is survival, the ability to recognize and distinguish between fertile and sterile in their various manifestations, exalted in reproduction, the ability to choose the best mate, the innate knowing what is sterile and what is fertile, and when mutation is specifically biological or dependent on collaboration with others. Detrimented, the perverse denial of evolutionary standards, the innate contrariness which refuses to mutate. Also on the 17th, Venus moves from the 21st gate and hexagram to the 51st gate hexagram. In human design, Venus is about values, morality, natural law in which we deal with the others, and the consequences of the world around us. And Venus is in the 51st gate of shock, the arousing, the ability to respond to disorder and shock through the recognition and adaptation. Venus is detrimented in the first line of the 51, which is reference, the advantage of previous crisis experience, detriment, a tendency to emotional withdrawal after shock, the weakness in the ego in times of challenge. On the 18th, the Sun then moves into the fourth line of the third hexagram at 3:31 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it's described as charisma, the innate quality which attracts valued guidance, exalted psychic attunement that magnetizes nurturing, a psychic energy which attracts nourishment and encourages ordering. Detrimented, where the demands of the ego lead to rejection, confused energy that needs nourishment but is generally rejected. Also on the 18th, Mercury moves, and it moves out of the second gate in hexagram to the 23rd, up here at the throat center. And as we talked about before, in mythology, Mercury was the messenger of the gods. So this is about communication, or as Rob put it, the expansion of human consciousness through communication, not just as words, but also as music. It's in the gate of assimilation, splitting apart, amorality, the awareness and understanding which leads to acceptance of diversity. And in the first line of the 23rd, this is proselytization, the attempt to undermine one set of values for another. Exalted, the sage who in the extreme can defend evil as part of the greater good, the powerful expression of an insight which will undermine established values. Detrimented, the missionary whose very light will bring darkness, the powerful expression of an insight which will produce negative effects. On the 19th, the Sun then moves into the fifth line of the third hexagram at 2:33 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The Sun in the fifth line of the third hexagram is victimization, when actions designed to overcome confusion alienate others. Exalted, the courage to stand by one's conviction, the unique energy of individuality to withstand confusion. Detrimented, where victimization leads to appeasement and suffering. Confused energy which is dominated by the ordering power of others. On the 20th, the Sun then moves into the sixth line of the third hexagram, and this shift happens at 1:37 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The Sun's exalted in the sixth line of the third hexagram, which is surrender, the ultimate maturity to recognize when struggle is futile. Exalted, as light sustains, so life goes on. The innate acceptance that ordering is a process and not a problem. On the 21st, we have the Sun moving out of the third gate in hexagram and into the 27, as the Earth also moves from the 50 to the 28. All right. So we have the Earth, and it's in the 28th hexagram, and this is the gate of the game player, preponderance of the great, the transitoriness of power and influence. And this shift happens at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, with the Sun in the 27th gate of caring, nourishment, the enhancement of the quality and sustenance of all activities through caring. And the Sun is exalted in the first line of the 27, which is selfishness, exalted, the ego-driven law of caring for oneself, which is not necessarily at the expense of others, the power to care for oneself. And as we move from the 3 to the 27, we are in the gate of nourishment. This is a sacral gate that's about caring, the fertility for caring or not. The gate of altruism. This is part of the defense circuit that can be deeply homogenizing for children through caring, pointed towards the splenic center. This is about caring about their forms, feeding them, protecting them from harm, keeping them safe from danger, making sure they're clothed and have shelter. And with the not self it can be the homogenization of children by not knowing when enough is enough, when there is too much caring, such as too much food or perhaps too much control, being overprotective, or too much worry, coddling the child which arrests their development, which is of course detrimental. Pointing towards its harmonic, the 50th gate of laws and the rules of how to raise children. This is really about protecting the tribe, and in doing so homogenizing children through the values of the 50th gate and the channel of preservation, bringing a relationship between nurturing and law. This is the cross, the unexpected, which Ra called called the oddest right angle cross, because the sun in the 27, when the sun's in the 27, we get to know these folks, and then the unexpected emerges. Their lives are marked with unexpected events, uncertainty in life, chaos. Those unexpected events can change the laws. Like an example of that would be back in the 1970s when middle-class white kids got arrested for smoking marijuana in the United States. The more severe laws, which were designed to oppress people of color, were changed. Basically, when the middle-class white tribe was impacted, parents used their influence to have the laws and punishments become more lenient, at least for their children. So the unexpected can be positive or negative, with the sun in the 27th gate of caring. On the 22nd, the sun then moves into the second line of the 27th hexagram at 11:46 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun in the 27-2 is described as self-sufficiency, the obvious law that to give one must have. Exalted the mother, the great nurturer, the strength to nurture and the power to care. Detrimented the child, depleting the resources of others. Weakness that can sap the strength and power of others. And then also on the 22nd, Venus moves from the 51st gate and hexagram, joining Uranus in the 42nd gate and hexagram. And we talked about Venus being about values. It's in the 42nd gate of growth, increase, the expansion of resources, which maximizes development of full potential. And Venus is detrimented in the first line of the 42, which means that the whole time that Venus is in the 42nd hexagram, it's also going to be detrimenting Uranus, which is in the first line of the 42. And the first line of the 42 is diversification. Detriment, a tendency when surplus resources are available to centrifugal application. Decadence. Too much expansion that can lead to decadence. On the 23rd, the sun moves into the third line of the 27th hexagram at 10:51 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The sun in the 27-3 is greed, the obsession with having much more than one needs. Exalted here, the psychological manifestation, the obsession and dependency on knowing what is hidden, the secret policeman, the power derived from having more than one one needs, whether sexually, mentally, or materially, detrimented, mundane, and wholly without redeeming value. Greed, a lust that inevitably cripples, a lust for power to get more than one needs. Anyway, thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast will be for April 24th, 2016. Should be available on the 23rd, when we'll continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. And you can check us out on Facebook, Blogger, or YouTube, as there's New World Birth presences in all those places. And I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. If you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And again, emailing me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com. I'll give you instructions on how you can make a donation. Or as I've said before, getting a reading is also a great way to support us here. You get something of great value to yourself at a reasonable price. And it also helps to keep us going and offering these free reports. As always, I am blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries, their synthesis and application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and as Ra would say, love yourself. All my best to everybody, and look forward to connecting with you in the future.